Mayor, Council, appreciate you having me here to give this presentation. I want to go through, I guess, a little bit of history on why I'm standing here and what I'm getting ready to present about. Some time ago, I guess it's been as many as 3-4 years ago, the city launched an effort to spend an enormous amount of money on dealing with a DEQ mandated consent order to get the sewer system in better shape. I've been through this before, so I'm not going to get back into it. All the pipes are combined, they collect everything, and it all goes to Georgia's plant. So we launched an effort years ago to put a fair amount of money into improvement of the collection system to try to not treat rainwater at the wastewater treatment plant. In addition to that, we spent a fair amount of money at the wastewater treatment plant to try to get to a point where we were being as efficient as we can to buy fewer nutrient credits based on the stress that the Jackson River is already under. The city can't do anything about that. That river requires a lot more treatment in this area, but that is what it is. So that effort's been going well. I've been trying to keep council informed of efforts, and we have still, as I had mentioned before, got work to do. Well, we were doing fine, and we were having an overflow here and there. We had a derecho event that was an act of God that was not held against us by DEQ. Then we hit the month of October, and whether it was the bowl effect of the city of Covington, which I like to call that, when a system sets in here, it likes to set, and every drop of water that falls in this basin concentrates into the city. So in the month of October, we had 3 bypasses totaling a magnitude of 1.8 million gallons of bypass water into the Jackson. So that frequency and magnitude of volume, DEQ doesn't pay any attention to all the little things we're doing day to day and the money that's been spent. They have a flagging system. As soon as those 3 events happen in that quick of a sequence at that magnitude, then the motion was set, the letter was drafted, here it comes to the city, to George, and says, we think we need to seriously consider what happens moving forward. This is not a good situation. Jackson River is already a stressed river, which puts more impetus on not having bypasses into the Jackson. So this has essentially hurdled us forward into needing to do something from a DEQ mandated standpoint to stay in regulatory compliance. So what I want to go through with this presentation, and council was very supportive of staff and my recommendation months ago to go into a wastewater treatment plant evaluation, which you approved us moving forward with. So essentially we have already completed that. I'm going to talk to you about what we did with that, but the fact that it was complete and has recommendations on how to deal with this issue at the same time the DEQ is coming in to have a meeting with us, it could not have happened any better. So typically a community would be on their heels. The guy comes in to meet with them. Sure, we're going to do a study. How long is that study going to last? 6 months. Have you even talked about it at council? Not yet, but I'm sure we'll approve it. That's not where we are now. We're going to say, yeah, they already approved it. We knew we needed to be looking at something. We have recommendations. We have a bulletproof option to deal with this and a plan moving forward. So I want to go through the process. So as I mentioned, notice of violation, the letter that was sent cited the 3 pretty significant bypasses. The teeth that come with this, if the city or any other community said, you know what, we're going to take a chance, we're going to throw caution to the wind, I think that was a fluke. They say, okay, that's fine, you throw the dice, but the next time it happens, we're going to send you a bill for $32,500. We're going to send you one every single time it happens from now forward. Now that is in place because there are communities that just refuse to admit that they've got an issue, and they will not put money back into their infrastructure to stay in regulatory compliance. That's not where the city is, but they have to have some way to hold these people accountable at the city manager level, at the Department of Public Works level, all the way to the chairman, mayor, so on and so forth. And so this number is a number that we need to keep in mind as I give you the recommendations and options moving forward. The options are to take on one of the recommendations and the financial responsibility that comes with that, or pay the penalty. So when you look at the options, those are your two options moving forward. So I wanted to get this out there so as we look at the numbers, we compare sitting back on our laurels doing nothing, just paying the bill each time it happens, versus being proactive, getting a system that we can manage and be in charge of our own destiny and be in regulatory compliance.
But to make sure we have not been actually fined.
No.
Okay, but the 97.5 is potential what could have been.
Right. I'm
3 overflow.
Okay.
So they use the formula.
I wanted to get out that we have been fined.
No,
Okay.
they gave us their formula and said, with all the parameters in place, the Jackson River requirements, moving forward, just to give you an example, we believe that this magnitude is in the realm of 32.5 per violation. So if you had said, okay, we'll take that and we'll take our chances, you had another month like October, the bill would be 97.5.
Okay.
So it's not a scare tactic. I want everybody that I'm giving this presentation to know all the facts as usual. Council and staff in concert with what the engineer comes up with. Everything's on the table. We know what we're doing moving forward.
Steve, they do reserve the right to fine us for this October event, but the fact that, as you pointed out, that we have a plan of action should be of great benefit to us.
Correct. And I'm going to go through the options, the meeting we're going to have with them, and what we need to have in place to make sure that goes well. So this is going to be the best tool that I can give you, and there's one other to explain the situation that we have going on. So each of these vertical lines are rain events that happen at the city. The length of them represents the amount of time that it rained. And as you can see, I've highlighted the two massive events that we absolutely will not ask taxpayers to build a system for, because it is considered an act of God and we cannot maintain a 50-inch diameter pipe for 2 times every 40 years this happens. And DEQ agrees with that. So there are outliers, and the volume of tank that I'm recommending is the horizontal black line that says proposed equalization tank volume of 2 million gallons. What that tells you is that every other rain event that happened over the past 2 years will be covered by that 2 million gallon volume. Now that's important because we can save some money and drop that horizontal line to that 1.5 or even that 1 number. But when we do that, we run the risk of spending a lot of money and then still getting pinged 2 or 3 times in a year because we tried to cut it really close. Now I'm going to give you guys the numbers, and ladies, the numbers, and I'm going to give you the impact to rates based on what kind of finance we can get, and we can bid those different volumes if you want to. And then when we get those numbers, you're essentially buying yourself risk protection for whatever money you want to save in a reduced size tank. So for instance, we bid a 2 and a 1.5. The 2 is $100,000 more. Why in the world wouldn't we go ahead and pull the trigger on $100,000 to buy ourselves a huge amount of risk insurance? Now, if it's double between a 1.5 and 2, we gotta dig deep down and decide what the right answer is, but that's not gonna be the case. So, in magnitude of what we're trying to set up to give you the best amount of information to make the best decision you can for the taxpayers, this is how I came about sizing that tank. It's based on real data. It's based on 2 years worth of rain events. that's the best that I feel that we can do to put ourselves in the best position. Any questions on that figure, on what that's showing? So here's what Mr. Douglas was talking about. We have a meeting with Marvin Booth, who is our DEQ representative, on the 25th here. We specifically recommended that he come here. I want him to see Georgia's impeccably kept wastewater treatment plant. I want him to look and see everything that is done down there, all the work that's been done. And he's gonna tell that this is not one of the DEQ situations where they need to have an iron fist and they don't think that the city is gonna follow through with what they need to do. So there's a couple of options that DEQ have. There's a letter of agreement. It's a 12-month agreement. There's no civil penalty, which that $32,500 wouldn't be in play. But it doesn't provide the same degree of coverage for future bypasses that a consent order does. So what that means is there's two teeth to this one that I don't like. One is typically 12 months. We have got to design it, find financing, agree to pay for it, have it built 12 months from the day that we agree to it. And during that 12 months, if there are more overflows, they're going to pay us for those during that 12-month time. So this works if it's something that's a quick fix. We know it's an easy thing. We can jump on it and knock it out. This is not one that I feel is the best track for the city. The consent order, that allows the city to negotiate what we're planning on doing, the timeline that we're going to do it. Almost all the time it's greater than a year of time. It provides a degree of coverage. So if you have bypass events while we're working on our agreed to plan, you don't get punished for that because you're already working towards your goal. It also is looked upon very favorably by the Virginia revolving loan folks, which is where we would probably go to find money. We just got 50% grant from them for the pump station upgrade work, and we weren't even under a consent violation. So this ups the ante, checks another box in our application, puts you to the top of the list of people who deserve that money and need to get as much grant as they can. It also, we would recommend request a no penalty consent order, which means there would be no financial ramifications during this consent order. So this is what we believe we have the best chance to get. We've already had preliminary discussions with Marvin. He is quite frankly taken aback at all the stuff that's happened here over the past 2 years. I'm going to just absolutely overwhelm him with the 19 hours of presentations I've done for you folks on all the improvements we've done. That's going to be what we do. And so we feel super confident that we're in a really good place.
Marvin, I know, but with DEQ, with the new administration coming in, he's not going to be shuffled out and somebody else coming in.
No.
So he's stuck with us.
He's our guy.
Okay. Because you know how administrations are with those type of state agencies. And he ain't high enough on the chain. Okay.
No, we're going to lose Walter Gills, but that's through attrition. He was the guy in charge of the financing stuff. Richard and I worked with him on this 50-50 money. He's out in April, but our boots on the ground folks, he's married to us essentially through this process.
Okay.
So this is the other item that I thought would kind of tell the story, because there's another piece to this that I've continued to talk about. So I'll just get it right here. So this is what George could push through the plant, 7.8 million gallons a day, without putting it under duress or creating issues. This 13.7 is all that the main pipe that goes through the middle of the city can handle. I don't care how much water's coming into it, unless you bolt the covers down and pump through it. 13.7 million gallons a day is it. Hydraulically, that is all that can come through that pipe. So, what does that mean? The reason that I have this exhibit here is because when you see these storm events that exceed that 20 number, this is all that can make it to Georgia's plant, which that 2 million gallon tank will handle that. But that hump above the red, the entire time the flow is above this, it's popping out of the system somewhere else. So 13.7 all is making it to George. But there are manhole lids popping open. There are clean outs, shooting water out into the street. That water is still coming out of the system. So
My basement's.
so even after we do this, here's the overall plan, and this is the right way to go regardless. We build the 2 million gallon tank for Georgia at the plant. That takes DEQ off of our back permanently. Then we have time to systematically work on the collection system and get it tight. Because I'm going to show you here in a minute, and George was right. For the longest time, he said, don't mess with my plant. Fix the collection system. My plant's fine. You're sending me too much water. Okay, that's a great idea. But I'm going to show you an exhibit here. We're looking at spending $14 million to fix the collection system. And the whole time we're biting a little bit of that off each year, we're getting pinged at the treatment plant. We're getting pinged at the treatment plant. We're getting threatened with notice of violations and fees. We're racing as fast as we can. You guys and ladies are raising taxes or rates based on your taxpayers' ability to pay as aggressive as you can, and the whole time we're doing that diligently, we're still overflowing at the plant. We cannot survive like that. We will be behind the 8 ball every spring when it rains. So it buys the city time to put a plan together that works, that the ratepayers can find palatable, that we can go after grant dollars, that we can systematically start taking that I&I out. And while we're working on that, we're taken care of at the wastewater treatment.
Okay.